In this video, I'm gonna talk about road redemption. Anyone born in the 90s who grew up to be that kid on the wrong side of the railroad track, or the right side of the railroad track depending on what kind of man catches your eye in a bar, will have heard of and then played this violent video game where you get to punch and kick racers on the way to victory. It was the ideal game for the naughty boys who broke the rules and who basked in the mentality of teenage rebellion, in an era when everything that was different was considered homosexual. These times are past us, replaced by an era in which everything that is different is considered autistic, but some now aging gamers fondly remember the casual ultra-violence of 16-bit video games and wish for a return to form. That is not a bad thing in itself. The style at the time was one of completely unrestrained experimentation, by way of pushing the envelope of what was acceptable, which is why we had games like Mortal Kombat, in which so much as a light caress produced enough blood to fill the Mediterranean Sea. Out of the cesspool of bygone rebels without a clue rises a new and improved variant of Road Rash, with a frames per second counter that averages something above 2.5 unlike the original game, so already this is a major stride that validates the raison d'etre of this newcomer, and a soundtrack composed of utterly generic heavy metal. Why am I not surprised? We are thus treated to the biker's paradise, which is apparently miles upon miles of desolate wasteland, with variants that include snowy wasteland and urban wasteland. Peppering the sauce, however, is the rare, elusive, but absolutely bonkers rooftop level that not only introduces a fresh breath of air into the experience, but also gives the game a much required dose of wacky carelessness whenever cars are not magically falling out of the sky. That is not a bug. The spirit of the original still exists. You race, you hit other people, and they try to hit you. Available weapons include the standard fare of machetes and baseball bats, and some more exotic offerings such as guns, rocket launchers, and sticky bombs, among other things. To counter this, some racers are resistant or even immune to certain weapon types. Interestingly, your hotkeys define weapon types instead of weapons themselves, so you can press the same key many times over to choose the exact weapon you want to use. Controls are exactly like a first-person shooter, with the exception that the brake and the reverse are separate keys, so that is gonna take some getting used to. Your mouse buttons are for the direction of your melee attacks, while your guns aim like you expect them to, which means you will have to look sideways on occasion. Doing so is an excellent way to ram an obstacle at full speed, and it never ceases to be hilarious. The game has two modes: Quick Race, in which you pick up a track to race on, nice and easy, and Campaign, in which you basically run through every level in succession. Particular to the campaign is that levels are not always races, but instead propose an objective that must be accomplished, such as killing a set amount of racers, assassinating a difficult opponent, or beating the clock, all for bonus money. Money earned in each level is used to purchase upgrades, and experience gained after a session are spent to give you an edge on your next playthroughs, eventually making the campaign easier. The campaign is also the only way to unlock new bikes and new riders, so if all you want to do is quick race, you are going to have a very limited selection on your hands. The campaign is the way the game is meant to be played, for better or worse, depending on whether you have an hour to spend on your session or 5 minutes. There is also a way to play online, but I have never been able to get a match going, and the game has been out for a little less than 2 years. If you click the online button, you cannot back out until a game has been found, so your only way to cancel out of this is to literally shut down the game with the task manager. If you have some extra controllers on hand, you can couch multiplayer with up to 3 friends you wish to bully, seeing as you being the owner of the game makes you inherently more experienced at it, so you can slice and dice your guests while they are still getting used to the controls. And yet, in a funny twist, it is all another aspect of the exact replication of the times when school was a jungle and zero-tolerance policies had yet to exist. Depending on where you stood on the social food chain, road redemption could make you squeal in delight at the prospect of indulging once more in the old ultra-violence, or could give you PTSD from all those times you got thrown against lockers. That said, if you are willing to give it the time of the day, you will see that it is a little more mature, a little more refined, and a little more approachable than how history remembers it. It is still a complete violent asshole with a lot to learn about life, but at least it is a grown-up asshole wrapped into a polo shirt and some dress pants, and it will say, "Yes sir, right away sir, can I have another sir," if you give it some attention and hit it hard enough, because it is fully aware that you are the only friend it has left. In short, this game is Reese from Malcolm in the Middle.